This is a spiritual word because this is a spiritual world. Speak, spirit. We've gone past the point, okay, where we can pretend that the matrix, and by the matrix I'm talking about the construct of the world we live in currently, right? Dominated by white patriarchal capitalism, pseudo-Christian belief systems and frameworks. Everything in this realm is spiritual. Our lives, our thoughts, our actions, the energy, it's all spiritual. And there are repercussions for everything, good and bad. So this is a word about witchcraft in a way, because people perceive witchcraft to be something that, you know, I think most people hear witchcraft and they think of films they've seen, right? Like, I don't know, or TV series around witches and witchcraft. And they think of voodoo, and they think of dark arts, and they think of the underbelly of magic. And that exists. Hell, it exists. I am a victim of it, for sure. But people don't know my spiritual ranking, so it never hits me. It just bounces off my angel's wings. But it bounces right back to them. Anyway, this is my point. Witchcraft is that, but also it's much smaller and simpler than that. It's the words you speak, it's the thoughts you have, it's the actions you take every day. It's the evil eye you're sending people, it's the jealousy, it's the envy you feel. Not just that you feel, but that you direct in another person's direction. It's all about intention, really. Because words are spells, that's why it's called spelling, right? Everything you say creates a vibration that goes out into the universe. And either positively or negatively, it's got to go somewhere, right? And if you're directing it towards someone in particular, and that person is protected, it's going to bounce and boomerang straight back to you. So why live in fear of the boomerang? Do you know what I mean? Because the boomerang's real. It's a spiritual boomerang. So why not speak with love? Why not speak and think and do from the heart with love? And if you're in a place of pain, if you're in a place of sorrow, if you're in a place of fear, if you're in a place of regret, you have to do the work to get out of that place so that you can realign yourself, realign your mind, realign your chakras. This is so, so important right now, at this point in the world's evolution. Because whether you want to believe it or not, and this is a big concept, but the rapture is real, okay? And the rapture is happening. That's why the world is crumbling before our eyes. All the systems and structures of the world as we know it are crumbling. Because a new earth is emerging. And if you want to get on the good, gravy, godly chain, you need to heal. You need to heal everything that's holding you back from living in love, from seeing in love, from being in love. I'm not saying that's easy. Of course it's not easy. But it is essential. It's essential work. And without it, you can't really manifest. You can't create anything beautiful in your world, in your life, without healing. Not that will stay tangibly. I mean, you can manifest things that will last for 5 minutes and then they'll disappear again. You can manifest $1 million and it will be gone in a month. You can manifest the house of your dreams and then it will be, you know, foreclosed or whatever. You can manifest the car of your dreams and it gets in a car accident. Do you know what I mean? So you can manifest temporarily from a place of pain and being in low vibration, but it won't last, it won't stick. That's why sometimes you've got to let all of the things around you that were upheld on false frequency, right? False beliefs, false false ideas, false love, and from low vibrational places such as fear, arrogance, narcissism, scarcity, lack, jealousy, envy, all of those things. You have to clear all of it out in order to start from a fresh foundation. I cannot underestimate enough to you guys how essential and important it is to take accountability, to look at your life, to look at your circumstances, and compare it to what you've been projecting, because that's what is happening. Whatever is outside of you is a projection of what's going on inside of you. As above, so below. As within, so without. It's the law of resonance. It's the law of attraction. It's the law of vibration. It's universal law, which is way more powerful than any justice system in this realm on this earth. And the universe will have justice one way or another. It's the universe. It's the creator of all things that ever have been and ever will be. Okay? So the universe always gets its way. You can't fuck about with that. And you can swap the universe for God. You can swap the universe for spirit. You can swap the universe for whatever higher power you want to call it. Buddha, Allah, whoever your God is. But I'm in that reflection because of what's been going on in my life, right? And this crazy, not just the crazy karmic neighbour, but all of the other things that have been going on in my life for the past year since I decided to fully commit to the spiritual path, right? And I'm saying it because I'm talking about this woman who's crazy and doing X, Y, Z to me and yada yada, trying to make my life miserable. And I realised I wasn't that very compassionate in how I spoke about that. Because hurt people. So for whatever reason, there's something inside her that's allowing this demonic entity or attachment to cling on to her, right? To make her do these things. Or them, it's not just her, it's a group of people, it's a whole fucking problem. And I need to remember to have compassion for that, for her. And largely, to be honest, there was a version of me a couple of years ago that would have got a knife. I mean, I wouldn't have stabbed her, but if someone wants smoke, I will put the fire out. That is the truth, right? You don't want to get into an argument with me. You don't want to get into a fight with me. You just don't. But I don't go there very often. It takes a lot to put me into that frequency. But God knows. This is why God keeps people away from me. He keeps karmic people away from me because He knows what I will do to them. And He doesn't want me to do that because He's got a plan for me. He's got a path for me. And I can't build, I've cleared out so much karma, I can't get back into karmic behaviour. Like, I'm way past that point. And do you know how hard it's been for a year not to engage in arguments, not to engage in clapback, not to engage in the smoke? It's been hard. But throughout all of that, me not reacting and handing it over to God and being like, do you know what? God wants me to learn something from this. I have to focus on the lesson. So what's the lesson? I've been trying to work it out. What has been the lesson? And the lesson has been patience, faith. But in terms of how I got myself in a position to be the victim of, I don't consider myself a victim, but that's just language we can all understand these days, so I'm going to use it. So in order for this person to be able to perpetrate these crimes, spiritual or otherwise, against me, There must be something inside of me, right, that attracted that. And I was going back in time to when I moved in, and I said that I didn't have a choice about it, but the truth is I did have a choice, because I was at the point of like literal homelessness, right? I couldn't, because in New York it's really hard to get an apartment. Like, you're supposed to have fucking 40 times the rent in your bank account, or be earning 40 times the rent. You have to have all this paperwork, you have to have good credit, you have to have da 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 da. It's tough. There's a lot of bureaucracy and checking and all of that, just to get an apartment. And I wasn't able to fulfill any of those things, because I was an immigrant to the country, right? New immigrant. So I don't want to bring up my ex and my ex-family members and all of that, but you know, there is a bit of an impact when, you know, certain bank accounts got shut and cut off and blah blah blah. Also impacted me, obviously. So I was in a really tricky place, and everywhere I was looking at, I couldn't get in, you know, for a couple of months solidly. And I was crying one night, praying to God. And I don't know, I had like 5 days, I think, to get out of the place I was in, or something like that, not long. And this one Sunday evening, I was in tears, because also I was grieving the loss of my marriage, and you know, grieving a lot. I was just grieving a lot. I was grieving the experiences I'd had in the past few years, the realizations I'd had about my so-called community, or my colleagues in hospitality. I was grieving what at the time felt like a wasted effort when it came to my business, and all the hours I had given to other people and causes and organizations at the cost of my own business, at the cost of my own welfare. I was grieving being a people pleaser, and and then negotiating all the trauma that caused that. So I was going through a lot, and I was desperate, right? So I was crying on my knees, praying to God, calling in angels to help me. And the next morning, I got contacted by 2 agents to see these 2 different properties, right? Now, one of these properties was a bit cheaper than the one I took, to be honest. It was about $400 a month cheaper. But it was like kind of raggedy, right? It just looked rough. I probably could have made it cozy, but it was like, you know, it's very ugly aesthetically. But it was big. Like, it would have been fit to purpose, because I needed to be able to work from home. At the time, I needed to be able to make my spices and all of that. It would have been good for the job, but aesthetically it wasn't beautiful, or it wasn't as attractive as I would like it to be, right? And the second option is where I went in the end, which was maybe a slightly smaller, more expensive, but looked nicer. Like, it was more presentable. So in the end, what I decided, so I made my decision, and I'm being brutally honest now, I made my decision based on where would I want people to visit me at. So I was looking at external things outside of myself, not what I needed, not what my soul needed, not what was best for me at the time, but where would I be most happy to have people come and visit me because of what it looked like, right? And that's why I ended up taking this place, because of what it looked like. It's that age-old lesson on all that glitters is not gold, you know? And it's also a lesson on seeking outside validation. And how when you do that, no good comes from it. That's the lesson God wanted me to learn from this experience. It's like, okay, you ask for help, I'm going to bring it. You've got two options. One's going to be more affordable, less pretty, but you'll be happy. One is more expensive, more attractive, and you may be happy, but more of a question mark, right? Anyway, all that's to say, I came to understand the lesson. But what would have made the lesson more unbearable or more difficult or more challenging would have been for me to not put my faith in God, right, in the universe, to get me through it, and for me to retaliate to this crazy situation violently or aggressively, therefore building up bad karma for myself. Instead, the inverse happened, where I realized, or I started to realize, okay, this is the lesson. What is the lesson? And as I've already posted, I prayed through it, I meditated through it, kept going as best I could, and I will keep going as best I can until it's all over, which will be hopefully very soon. But in order for me to learn the lesson, I had to take accountability. I had to see my part in it. And what I've come to learn is that is true in every situation, every circumstance. When you stop pointing the finger at other people and blaming them and attacking them and being like, this is that person's fault and yada yada, blah blah blah. When you go within and you say to yourself, okay, what's my responsibility here? Where could I have made a different choice? What choice led me to be in this position? What decisions, what actions put me here? When you do that, more often than not, you will find the fault actually lays within you. And that's a good thing, because if the fault lays within you, then you're capable of fixing it. Because whatever is within you, you can control. Whatever is without you, outside of you, you've got no control over it whatsoever. Do you know what I'm saying? That was a long message. But the universe wanted me to put it out, so there you go. It could have been longer. I could talk about all of those things for hours and hours and hours, and probably one day I will. But not today. I will be posting a karmic update though, because I feel like I'm going to launch Psychic Investigates channel or something. I don't know what I'm going to do. Who the fuck knows? But anyway, there is some entertainment to be had to the unfolding narrative, and therein is the relief from it. So there you go, sending you strength, courage and wisdom, my darlings. I do love you. I hope that there is somebody else in the world who tells you every day that they love you and that they're proud of you, and if they're not, then I'm telling you now, I love you, I'm proud of you, keep going.